Southport hadn't beaten Redland since the 2013 Northern Conference semi-final, and they wasted little time getting off on the right foot at Fankhauser Reserve.
Anthony.
Jack Anthony had the opening goal of the game as the Sharks burst out of the blocks to lead by 32 points at quarter time.
Oh, which way's it going to bounce?
Everything seemed to be falling into place for the home side, who didn't give their opponents an inch, and Anthony was getting on the end of some quality supply.
Up with Jack Anthony, and now they make them pay.
The Sharks were clinical around the stoppages and held the Bombers goalless until the 25-minute mark of the second, when Blake Brewer broke the drought.
Here's Brewer, has an open shot and he converts.
But the floodgates opened up after half-time as Southport added a further 5 goals to none in the third. When Josh Hunt found his first to start the last, the margin blew out to 94 points. Redland finished strongly with 3 final quarter goals, but the day belonged to the red-hot Sharks, who recorded an emphatic 81-point victory, including 7 goals and a best-on-ground performance from Anthony.
Coming off the bye last week, the boys were fresh and ready to go after the trip to Darwin. So, we were confident to put a good performance on the park, and I had a few key areas that I really honed in before the game with the boys, and I think they played them to the T. I suppose in the last quarter it was a little bit disappointing that dropped off a little bit and probably let them back in the game to a degree, but good win in the end, and we were really happy with that.
Defending Premier Aspley travelled to Canberra to take on Eastlake for the second time in the first 4 rounds of the season. Keen to atone for a 136-point loss in round 1, the Demons threw themselves into the contest and trailed by only 14 points at quarter time. The undefeated Hornets added a further 5 goals to 3 in the second to extend their lead, but they hadn't quite put their opponents away. Eastlake manufactured some highlights of their own in the third, but Aspley had too much class, putting the result beyond doubt by the last change when they opened up a 51-point lead. The last quarter belonged to the Demons when they kicked 6 goals to nothing to reduce the final margin to 22 points. Sydney University went into their clash with the Sydney Swans confident of breaking through for their first win of the season after pushing Aspley all the way in a pulsating contest last week. They started their clash against the Swans in similar fashion in wet conditions at the SCG, keeping their noses in front in an arm wrestle of the first half.
Kick from Scott Gleasing. Listen to the roar from the faithful.
But the Swans were a different side after half-time, kicking 7 goals 2 to nothing in a dominant third quarter to put themselves in a commanding position at three-quarter time.
What a finish by Rose!
The Students failed to kick a goal in the second half as Sydney ran out 41-point winners, inflicting Sydney Uni's 3rd loss of the year to see them plummet to 10th place on the ladder.
And this one might be over.
NT Thunder hosted the UWS Giants in the match of the round in Darwin, with neither side tasting defeat so far this year. Last time the two sides met, the Giants handed the Territory a 104-point thrashing, and they got off to the perfect start when Jake Barrett goaled in the opening minutes. Each side traded blows in the first quarter, and when Don Barry spotted Liam Patrick in space, the Giants' lead was cut to just 1 goal at quarter time.
And then back the other way, gave it back to Barry. Barry with vision, kicks across to the corridor, and there stands Liam Patrick to take a strong mark.
Thunder hit the front when Cameron Eilert capitalised from a 50-metre penalty.
For Thunder, loads up, kicks the goal.
Patrick found himself another, and Chris Dunn got his name on the score sheet to give their side a handy 13-point lead at the main break.
He's got good balance, he kicks, it looks good off the boot. He's going to go all the way home, and he's got 3, Liam Patrick.
The Giants had the first 2 of the third, but ruckman Ryan Smith steadied the ship, and Barry gave his side a lift.
Smith at the back, big tall man takes the mark. Oh, he's done pretty well. He's picked it up, goes short, gives it to Don Barry, looks at the goal, goes for goal and kicks it. Whoa, that was champagne footy at its best.
With a 12-point lead up their sleeve heading into the last, Thunder doubled their lead when Barry found his second goal.
And he gave it off to Don Barry, goes for goal and delivers.
With the time ticking down, the Giants continued to press, but the Territory held their opponents at bay to record a 10-point win, their 3rd victory by less than 2 goals this season. Gold Coast entered its clash with Brisbane, having lost their past 22 NEAFL games in a row. Matt Hamilman was keen to see the losing streak continue and he found the opening goal of the game. There were only 3 goals scored for the quarter, with the Lions having their noses in front by 7 points at the first change. The Suns cut the deficit to 1 point midway through the second, where the margin remained at half-time in what was another low-scoring quarter. Ryan Lester extended Brisbane's lead to start the third, but Aaron Hall wouldn't allow the Suns to go down without a fight. They hit the lead through Danny Stanley in the opening minutes of the last and had 4 in a row by the 16-minute mark. It was enough to keep the Lions at arm's length as the Suns finally broke the drought, recording their first win since round 21, 2013. Taking a look at the ladder, and Aspley sit on top by 4 points over the UWS Giants, whose percentage keeps them in second over Sydney and NT Thunder, with Southport and Ainsley making up the top 6. To next week's games, and Sydney University will host Ainsley and the UWS Giants take on the Sydney Swans. The 2 undefeated sides left in the competition will go head-to-head at Graham Road when Aspley hosts NT Thunder in a blockbuster clash, followed by Gold Coast and Southport at Metricon Stadium. Keep up to date with all the NEAFL news by following us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and track all the live scores and stats by downloading our official NEAFL app from the Google Play and Apple stores.